Hello world, I'm Chris Pirillo, and you have tuned in to the LockerGnome Daily Report, or TLDR for short, your daily dose of geek news, gadget views, and answers that you can use. We try to do this once live every weekday, or live once every... We do it every weekday, live on YouTube, and it's in large part thanks to our patrons. And if you would like to become a supporter of this channel and pretty much everything that I do online, you can head over to patreon.com/ChrisPirillo or chrispirillo.com. The link is in this video's description. I have an audience of one today. My dad is visiting. Say hello, Joe.
Hello.
Dad has his own YouTube channel. I've got a vlogging family, for the most part. I think I dragged them into it, kicking and screaming. Dad will be doing an AMA this Friday, thanks to you and your support. We got to 400 patrons over the weekend, and I said if we did that, then we'd do an AMA. Ask me anything. So if you ever wanted to ask my dad a question, now's not the time. Friday would be the time. Got quite a few announcements to run through today with Mobile World Congress happening over there in Barcelona. Just like Barcelona. It's like you're ready to throw up when you say the name Barcelona. But you shouldn't. Don't throw up. That's not... Let's leave that to the pregnant ladies in this house. Diana's doing well, that I know of. We posted our pregnancy vlog to the other channel today, so I won't dive into that right now. Let me go ahead and thank our patrons and our current sponsor. Let's go ahead and take a look to see. The last I saw this afternoon, yep, we're right now at 409 patrons. That's a good formula. Formula 409, don't you think? What the hell was that? Oh, my finger was sliding off to the bezel. That's why it jumped around. It's not the iPad's fault. It's my fault. Blame my finger. So thank you to the 409 people who have supported us, including... And we will go ahead and run down this list. A scooch. Did I say... I'm not sure if I said your name right. I'm not even sure if I said list properly. I think I said lists. But if you listen to the rest of what I'm going to say, we'll get along fine. It's been one hell of a Monday for me, let me tell you. Let's go ahead and thank Escooch, or Escooche Headphones, Tom Matthews, Brandon Hawkins, Anthrit, the vlogger from Montana, which is the state right over there from Washington, and happy birthday to Mark Hyder. Happy birthday, Mark. Tuning in at some odd time in the middle of the night over there in the UK. Also, thank you to Matt Pegler, Daryl, Robert Crawford, Saif Mahmood, Eva Brown, Schwazy 2013, Jennifer Metz, Christopher Wallace, Daniel Spiva. Sorry if it didn't... What I said was Christopher Wall. I tried to take a breath. It didn't work. Daniel Spiva. I'm still breathing, do not worry. Geekcast, Ulvind Soli, Ulvind. Ruin that for the rest of my life. Joey Hernandez, Andrew Myers, Chris Miller, Mark Flores, Daniel Hadley, and the person known as Ben. That's all we really seem to know at this point. We also have to thank Joseph, Frank Knightham, David Bates, Gregory Stepp, Kieran Bold, Ben Michaud, Sven Rosler, Mike LaRue, John Dezel, Ross Milne, Tony Ross, Andrew Neoculus, Jonathan Perez, Rick Sayre, Brian Brinkley, Alex and Tom's Tech Advice and News, Fraser Walker, and Brian Roberts. Courtney Ellis is also to be thanked, and if you want your name to appear in a TLDR, all you need to do is become a patron at that level, and you're good to go. Again, more information at chrispirillo.com. We'll see if we can jump up a number by the end of the broadcast. Hopefully, within a very short amount of time, we'll hit the big 500, and I think when we do 500 on patrons, what I'm going to do is upload a What's on My iPhone video. I may record it ahead of time and share it with the patrons ahead of time, but make it public after we hit 500 in total. Let's go ahead and thank GoToMeeting as well from Citrix, because building a strong relationship with your team is key for any business, including my business. Believe it or not, this is a business. I have people that I pay, so they're not really employees or contract employees or contract laborers. I have people that I basically help them pay their bills, right? So it's not just me on this side of the camera all the time. There's a lot that we do for you, and we need to meet and collaborate with coworkers all the time, really, and clients sometimes on a regular basis. And to brainstorm or develop quality ideas and solutions to just work better, we look to GoToMeeting, because getting everybody in the same room is impossible. I live here, they live elsewhere, and we're still a global company. That's why we use GoToMeeting with HD Faces by Citrix. It's a powerfully simple way to meet in person, online, from anywhere, anytime. We use it to, really communicate in ways that email just doesn't work, a message doesn't work, even sharing the same document online doesn't work. Sometimes you just need to talk to someone, and seeing their facial expressions and their voice inflection at the same time, it does make all the difference in the world. It's so easy to do. Sign up for GoToMeeting from your computer or mobile device and launch your first meeting in seconds. You'll be able to share the same screen to collaborate on projects in real time and turn your webcams on to see each other face to face. You can start your free 30-day trial of GoToMeeting today. Visit GoToMeeting.com, click the Try It Free button, and use the promo code Pirillo. GoToMeeting.com. Once again, the promo code PIRILLO. So thanks again, everybody, for all of your wonderful support. Could not do it without you. So now, down to the announcements. Before I get into what I've seen from Mobile World Congress, I'm not there. I'm here in my home office in Seattle. I do want to make mention that Harold Ramis, also known as Egon Spengler from the Ghostbusters, if you remember that, passed away earlier today. It's quite disappointing. I guess he would be kind of a geek figurehead, at least what I saw on the Twitter feed this morning. A lot of people, were not shaken about it, but, it's a concern when you lose an icon like Harold Ramis. Another thing that I wanted to cover, too, before I forget, is what's being dubbed now as go-to-fail. If you have an iOS device, like an iPad or an iPhone or an iPod Touch, or if you're running OS X, that would be the operating system that ships with a Mac, you want to upgrade to the latest version. Now, they being Apple, just released a new update to iOS 7, and I do believe also iOS 6 over the weekend to address this oversight. So, update to the latest iOS immediately. I did that on my iPhone almost immediately as soon as I found out there was an update available. When I went to update my iPad, I couldn't get rebooted like I normally would, just being able to boot right back into the Springboard. I had to physically reset it by connecting it to a Mac and syncing to iTunes. Everything's working on it fine just now. I restored from an iCloud backup. I'm good to go. So what go-to-fail, this bug, what it was, well, allegedly it was a typo. It could have happened on accident. It was a duplicate line that may have caused the ability for someone, if they were on the same wireless network as you, a Wi-Fi network that may or may not be trusted, they may have been able to snoop your transactions, even if it was happening over SSL. So you would imagine you were secure, and I would say that most people probably have been secure. That being said, update to the latest version. They squashed it with the latest version of iOS, the security fix. They're working on a version for OS X, and just so you know, it's not just the web browser, Safari on OS X or iOS by default, that is prone to this bug, but anything that relies on Safari, including Mail, Twitter, iMessage, FaceTime, and others. So Apple, I would imagine, is going to be cleaning up behind them. Hopefully, this was just an oversight. Some people are alleging that it was connected to Prism somehow, but it was pretty blatant. And I'm not a security wonk at all, but as soon as I was reading more about this particular issue, I knew I had to pass the information along. Update to the latest version. No questions asked. Do it, and don't sit there and say, "Oh, Apple, horrible security." I got to tell you, if it's software, it's going to get patched. It's going to get fixed. I don't care what the platform is. It's going to have issues eventually. Apple just happened to have a pretty big one, the go-to-fail, because so many people use iOS devices. So patch yourself before you find yourself in trouble. Opera has launched. We're going to go ahead and switch platforms for a second. A max data savings app for Android. So what it can do on Android is every bit of data that comes through your connection, the Max Data Savings app on Android will intercept it effectively. You got to trust Opera, but also squish the data down so that you're not wasting as much of your monthly allotments of bandwidth if you're on a wireless plan that limits how much data you can use. This may help if you have an Android device. Opera's been around for years. Would I trust them with data? probably no more than I would trust Google, Apple, Microsoft, any of the big boys with the data that I would be transmitting back and forth. It effectively works at that level, not just for your web browser, but for pretty much anything that you might use over the internet. That's what Opera says. I've not had a chance to use it. It was just released today. Certainly worth investigating. The biggest news to come out of Barcelona today is the announcement of the Samsung Galaxy S5. I am trudging along here with my trusty S4. This is the Google Play Edition, and my Note 3, which I have been very, very happy with. In fact, between these two devices, why aren't you turning on, buddy? There you go. Okay, you were on for a second. Between these two devices, I probably go to the Note 3 more than I go the S4. The S5, much to the disappointment of many a fanboy, because there are Samsung fanboys out there, and that's fine. Hey, you know, you love Samsung, go for it. It's really a series of incremental changes with the Samsung Galaxy S5. A better camera, but with that camera, better HDR mode, as well as a faster autofocus, which is a big deal. Probably the biggest hardware bump, or at least most notable hardware bump, is specifically in that, you know, remember the little chiclet, the oval button that Samsung devices have right there at the bottom? In the Samsung Galaxy S5, it will be a fingerprint reader, so you'll effectively do this. You'll have to swipe your finger. Now, will it work as well as Touch ID? I don't know. So, you know me, I'm always like, well, it's not just a feature, it's the implementation. I have no idea how well it's been implemented. I can tell you that they're running the latest version of Android, 4.4 KitKat. Samsung's done a pretty good job with Android, at least amongst the players out there. If we're not talking about pure Google Nexus devices, Samsung certainly captured mind share, if not market share, with Android devices, and I would expect no less with the Samsung Galaxy S5. If you were on a 4 or a 3, would the 5 be worth an upgrade? I just don't know. I cannot answer that question until I've had the experience directly with the product. So I know people had been disappointed. You know, they expected more, but I've tried to talk you guys through this so many times. Some people seem fit to peg Apple and suggest that they're not innovative because their changes are incremental. But I hate to tell you, that's good. We're at the age with these devices that if Samsung took a radical leap, it could be the radical leap in the wrong direction, and then all that value that they built up would be gone. So Samsung's not going to be making any major changes. Nor is Apple. I mean, they're going to incrementally change the platform and incrementally change the hardware, but it's never going to be a radical change like you would expect. Companies make radical changes with these products because they ain't winning. If you know, or I started a sentence with if. Let me try it again. You know a company is winning when the new product that they release is not that much different, yet different enough from the previous product. If it changes radically, oh, yeah, that's generally not good. So do not look for innovation to happen at breakneck speed, especially with a winning product. And that's just the way it's going to be, whether it's Apple, Samsung, I don't care. It's just the way it is. That's the way it goes. You cannot make fast changes with hardware. You got to implement incrementally. And I get upset about this because some people, they don't understand this, right? Geeks especially. Why? They don't innovate fast enough. Well, look, you like being on the bleeding edge and trying a billion different things. 99% of the Galaxy doesn't. To get someone who enjoyed, let's say, the Note 3, or, okay, more to the point, the Samsung Galaxy S4. If they wanted to get the 5, why would they get it if they love the S4? What's going to get them to upgrade? Right? You got to think about that from a consumer's perspective, not necessarily from a geek's perspective. And let's face it, you know, Samsung's going after that bigger market, not just for the geeks. In the vein of Samsung, Tizen is now running on Gear 2, the Gear 2 Neo, and the Gear Fit. That is their smartwatch. Makes you kind of wonder, though. How many months has the Galaxy Gear been out? Just a few months, and now they've got a new one on a completely different platform. Good thing for them, right? I don't know if I would necessarily release Tizen on a flagship device like, a Galaxy smartphone. Maybe eventually it'll happen, but Tizen is still kind of brand new. It's a great idea. I think, we'll be seeing more of it, certainly from Samsung's camp. It's open source, by the way. We've talked about it before over time. It's nice to see them experimenting with that watch because part of that crossover with what they're doing, Samsung's doing, is trying to address your health. So not only do they have the fingerprint scanner. I don't know if that's going to double for any other type of, I guess, feature apart from security. But on the back, what they have is a little module next to the flash where you can hold your thumb there and it'll help you speak when you're streaming live video on YouTube. No, it won't do that. But it will help you measure your heartbeat. Good idea. I have no idea how well it's implemented. So in conjunction with that, they've got their, for the lack of a better word, smartwatches, because health is a core part of what Samsung's going to be doing in the coming years, which is smart. You got the phone on you all the time. It may be your pedometer. It can measure other things. And to have those types of hardware features built into the phone and then having a watch next to it, it's not just about syncing data back and forth. It's about giving you a more well-rounded life being aided by technology. WhatsApp, still not using it, is set to add voice calls after the Facebook acquisition. And, I should stop. Dad, you should have reminded me 15 minutes in. Okay, I've got audio. I'm just making sure. I didn't want to, I could have been the whole time, but that didn't happen. So WhatsApp is going to be adding voice calls to its infrastructure, which is good. They're circumventing granted, you have to be connected to the internet, but they're circumventing traditional means for staying connected. And I would say that as far as the players are concerned, I would say WhatsApp is leading, and they were doing that even before the acquisition, which is probably what also led to the acquisition. And I do believe that in conjunction with internet.org, bringing internet access and connectivity to parts of the world that, let's say, aren't as advanced as the parts of the world that you may be in, or that I am certainly in. It's a good direction for them. The reason why I have not signed up for WhatsApp yet is A, I don't really need it. B, I'm still not sold on the security, or lack thereof. I've read a few articles suggesting that they haven't really nailed that part of the equation. So I'm going to wait until I know it's as secure as it possibly can be, and then I might sign up for WhatsApp. Until then, it's probably not for me, and it may not even be for you. Gonna go ahead and look here. What do we have? AJ Tyler 42 says he's got an S4, but wishing he could get rid of TouchWiz for stock Android. You could have purchased the Google Play edition of the S4. That would have been one way to circumvent it, but hopefully TouchWiz continues to evolve and becomes a bit more responsive over time. I don't blame you, though. I'm not a TouchWiz fan either. Nokia has also announced the X Plus, and the XL low-cost Android phones to appeal to new smartphone users. So Nokia, you might have imagined, is in bed with Microsoft, right? Well, they've got an Android phone now. And the way that they're implementing Android, they forked it, much like Amazon did. So it's Android at its core, but Nokia is layering on top of that its own services. It's layering on top of that its own app store. It's Nokia's version of Android. How well will this work? I have no idea. I think it's a good approach because their market is not for a power user as much as it is, as to quote, appealing to new smartphone users. Users who may have heard of the Nokia brand, may not have been interested in Windows Phone, but they've heard of Android, and they like Nokia, and they trust Nokia. The first phone I ever had, actually the first few phones that I ever had, were made by Nokia. So it's that trust factor, especially in countries that are probably not your own, that may lead to pretty good adoption for the Nokia X, X Plus, and XL. So good luck with Nokia. I have no idea if that project's going to last very long, but hopefully they'll have a good run with it and keep it going. Intel says that Merrifield, this is an upcoming chipset that they're going to be pushing out there, especially for smartphones. Intel is doing a lot of work in that arena. The arena? You saw me unbox and give away a few Android Intel tablets a few months ago. Or wait, was it last month? Yeah, last month. Wow, guess time flies when you're having fun. So they Intel claims that this new chipset, Merrifield, outperformed Apple's A7 CPU and Qualcomm's Snapdragon 800 CPU on a number of benchmarks, likely synthetic benchmarks, but they also provided longer battery life compared to its competitors. So another option in the field, competition. That's a good thing. I'm a huge supporter of what Intel is doing. I have been using Intel products pretty much from the very beginning. Bing, 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 bing. I even had in an old photo an old Intel Pentium, or I think it was an MMX with MMX technology. What the hell was that? It was a mouse pad. It had Intel on it. I just loved Intel. And I still do. I really do. They've been supportive of our efforts as well. So stay tuned for more information on Merrifield coming up in the next quarter or so. Facebook! I should have used this little headline after the announcement with WhatsApp. They've hired Ryan Seacrest as digital chief or head of entertainment partnerships at Facebook. That's impressive. Well, they haven't hired Ryan Seacrest himself, but Ryan Seacrest digital chief, not his digital chef, his digital chief. So Facebook's going to continue to push forth with entertainment partnerships. It's good to have someone experienced in the part of the world that is kind of accelerated by entertainment, that is Hollywood. I see that as time marches on, it becomes less and less important for you to be in that part of the world to be able to succeed in this capacity. I mean, look, here I'm sitting here in my office geeking out with you for at least a half hour as promised with our current goals on the Patreon campaign ongoing. I'm able to do this because the connection between you and me is completely disintermediated. You have a connection to the internet. I've got a connection to you. We make good things happen. So good luck, Facebook. Sorry about that, Ryan Seacrest. Maybe that's a disappointment. I really don't know. So, also in chipset news, it looks like Broadcom is going to be releasing a high-speed 5G Wi-Fi on the single chip for smartphones with 2x2 MIMO, or multiple input, multiple output. The idea behind this type of chip is that it helps mitigate interference, could actually improve overall bandwidth as well as power efficiency. The fewer components that you might have in circuitry equals better speed, lower latency, a better battery life. So it's nice to see more of these things getting smaller and smaller and getting onto a single chip. If we can get to just a single chip, and maybe one day we won't even have all our circuitry on chips. It'll be in air or liquid or somewhere in between, a gas. You can fart into your phone and charge it for a year. There you go. Back that Kickstarter project. I'm not saying it's there. I'm not saying you should start that if you have no idea what you're doing with methane. The next gen YotaPhone, the follow-up, because I think it was last year at CES, I featured one of them in a video. I loved it. The idea is that, I'm just going to pick up the phone here. This phone. On the front, you've got Android here. You can interoperate with it. On the other side of the phone, not a case, the phone has an e-ink display. And so what they've done in the updated version of the YotaPhone, which wasn't really or necessarily available in the US, is they've made the e-ink screen on the other side full color and also touch interactive. So that would be a boon. I think it's a great idea because there's sometimes in the day or throughout the day, you may want to check something like a weather or some other bit of data. And instead of having to power on your phone, swipe over, launch the app, you're wasting battery. Instead of having that data there on an e-ink screen that's up to date, that doesn't waste any battery life or a minimal amount of battery life, it can help you get through the day longer. Is that idea going to scale? So you're going to see like more Android devices with that, or iPhones or Windows phones? I don't know. I think it's a fantastic idea. What I saw implemented last year looked to be nice. Never actually used it personally other than the demo, but it was pretty cool. I would almost want to have like a phone sled that had an external battery pack and an e-ink screen that interoperated with the phone that it was attached to. There was likely a project that was launched on that, I don't know, but I tend not to, and I went into this on Friday, I tend not to back those types of hardware projects, if only because I like waiting until reviews have come out or I can actually get the hardware in my hands to know whether or not it is worth it. Speaking of hardware that's worth it, I just got this today. The portable Bluetooth speaker from Anker. I featured a few of their products. They sent it along. Bluetooth 4.0 compatible, and I have so many of these little Bluetooth speakers. I think every room in our house has a Bluetooth speaker, which is great. And it's 4.0. So, it's going to last long, at least as far as the battery is concerned. Right on this side, you've got the auxiliary in, the power, which is a micro USB, and an on-off switch. I have not synced it. I got it minutes before starting this live broadcast later in the day. So I will be placing this somewhere around the house. If you have any ideas, since you've seen a house tour, let me know. Trust me, I think it's going to get to the point where we're going to have many of these in each room. There's so many good ones out there. And Anker, I think, has done a pretty good job with accessories over the past year. So thank you for sending that along. There's a little gadget view for you today. And I got another one, or a series of them, to show you tomorrow. Not Bluetooth speakers. We're going to move on from that. But some other, I wouldn't call them gadgets, but something that I think every geek would want in their life. Bluetooth speakers, yes. But tomorrow, I got something cool for you. You gotta stay tuned. PlayStation 4 has gone on sale in Japan, and there's no competition. Xbox, as a matter of fact, dropped about $50, or was it £30 in the UK. Okay, Japan, UK, not exactly the same. I'm not going to say that Xbox has been suffering with sales, nor would Microsoft say that, but I don't think it's going to hurt to drop the Xbox price, at least in the UK, by a few bucks. That wasn't the thing that has held me back, really, from getting a PS4 or an Xbox, because I just haven't found a place for it to exist in my life right now. I'm not a big gamer. I say that, I swear, every single day, and I have to say this over and over again. But if I was a gamer, then I'm usually a casual gamer, playing on mobile devices, mobile screens, or potentially on a console. I just haven't found a need to get a PS4 or an Xbox One yet. 2 bits of news for you. PS4 doing well, obviously, in Japan. Xbox One doing well enough in the UK that they dropped it by $50. That's $50 US, £30, I believe. Privacy-focused black phone from Silent Circle has gone up for pre-order for 629 bones. If you love Android but are a little concerned about the security and your privacy in relation to Android and what's going on in the back end, this may be the phone for you. SilentCircle.com has more information. Not affiliated with them at all. It's just that they've released this very privacy-conscious smartphone. And so if that's in interest to you, great. You may be a privacy advocate. I am as well. I try to keep as many things private as I possibly can. But the news flash to me, news flash to a lot of people, it's not a news flash to me, is they don't understand how so much of their life isn't private, yet they comment on Facebook and Google Plus and YouTube and Twitter, and they're doing a million things on the web. You're sharing a lot of your information. You're shedding a lot of, dander in your wake. That was in your wake, not in your awake. In your wake, the path, imagine dander flying back here. Can you do that? Not dandruff, dander, like skin cells and... All right, we're going to move on. So, either way, if you're really concerned about your privacy, get offline. If you want a smartphone, you want to still be online, that one may be it for you. Haven't tested it, don't know anything about it other than it's available. Google and LG are now working on a smartwatch. Hey, someone should be making a log of every single verbal typo that I make and just collect it at the end of the video. Like, God, geez, Chris, look at all these things you said wrong. You believe it or not, some people have done that, and I didn't even ask for it. They're working on a smartwatch, Google and LG, to be unveiled in June, potentially with the new array of Nexus devices. If Google marches forward with the Nexus products, I think it's a good thing. Google, I think, has done a fine job with hardware to this point. I think Google's biggest failings to this point, and I'm not the only one to believe this, and this is not the first time I've said it, the biggest challenge that I think Google has is customer service. They've got a huge gap with customer service. So I don't know how that's going to play out. That being said, that would probably be a product I would like to look at and actually have and try. Because it's Google, right? I like trying Google products. Because I like Google. Half my life is spent in Google or using Google. So good luck with that, Google and LG. I hope it kicks ass and takes wrists. Wear it on your wrist. I don't know what's going to have in it, though. Microsoft has been caught repackaging other companies' sites as apps for Windows Phone Store without permission. Well, that's one way to get a few new apps. I think Windows Phone, for what it is fantastic. But I just don't think developers are getting the message. They don't care. And I don't see that changing anytime soon. What's Microsoft going to do to adapt? I really don't know. This, however, is probably not a good idea. Taking someone's website and repackaging it as an app. Actually, I'm more offended that they didn't take our website and repackage it as an app. Okay, there's another one for your list. Speaking of Google, I did want to mention this. Over the weekend, I caught wind of something called Project Tango. You can go ahead and Bing that if you want. Project Tango is an effort from Google they're going to take, or you can basically get this piece of hardware that will help you with 3D visualization. So, to quote the website, our current prototype is a 5-inch phone containing customized hardware and software designed to track the full 3D motion of the device while simultaneously creating a map of the environment. These sensors allow the phone to make over 250,000 3D measurements every second, updating its position and orientation in real time, combining that data into a single 3D model of the space around you. Cool! Now, granted, this is just prototype stuff. This is just, it's at the hardware level. So developers and engineers who want to start getting into 3D modeling, great place to potentially start. I'm glad that Google's leading the fray. I doubt that consumers are going to get they're going to have their hands on Project Tango, not really meant for consumers, but that technology is most likely going to make it into consumer-grade devices. That's good news all around. Really exciting. If you watch the video, you'll really understand it. Imagine having a phone, or maybe even not even a phone, just your glasses, and you're walking around, and the computer in the glasses is able to interpret what's around you and what it is and where it is in spatial orientation. Can you imagine translating that signal? Because they've already done this for people who are blind. They transfer the signal directly to their brain. Imagine helping blind people see. I mean, that's the type of technology that we're talking about here. It's getting exciting. When technology starts to transform lives at that level, it gets exciting for me. Another thing that I wanted to mention before rounding out today is that one of the first Firefox phones is available. It's a dual booting Android and Firefox phone available from Geeks Phone. It's the Revolution. So if you want a phone that, boot to Gecko, so you can go to Firefox, you can go to Android. That's the direction you might want to go, the Revolution. Have not seen it, have not touched a Firefox phone yet. That said, apparently they're going to be reworking how the Firefox OS on the mobile device works. So I don't know if I'm really that excited to jump into it right now. I might just sit back and wait. I'm not necessarily going to pursue it at this time. You know, if it falls into my lap, sure, I'll take a look. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close her out for today. I said pretty much everything I wanted to say about the headlines. By and large, smartphone headlines. There's a lot of announcements out there. Smartphones are today's computers. That's what they are. This is a great computer, as is this, as is this. As are you. You got your brain, you're a computer, you're a walking computer. Hopefully you have a better personality compared to the average computer, but we won't go into that right now. Thanks again for everybody's support out there. I do appreciate all the patrons. At current count, we have, I'm going to hit refresh here, scroll down the page, 409. Okay, I'm still excited about Formula 409 there. That's good. That's more than we had on Friday, so that number should continue to grow. I would hope that by my birthday, this July, we'll hit 1,000. Hopefully, within a week's time, we'll hit 500. And we only started this about a month ago. If you like me and the things I do for you, well, you watched this deeply into the video, I'm just assuming that. If I am as valuable to you as the price of your favorite beverage, just one time a month, that's what being a patron's all about. It's not going to end. This is providing so much stability for what I'm able to do, and hopefully we'll continue to be able to do more for you. Instead of just talking about these cutting-edge phones, I want to get to the point, thanks to this Patreon campaign, thanks to you guys signing up for this, get to the point where I can do more hands-on hardware and have people here in the same space as me to be able to demonstrate and be able to do more gadgetry for you. I can't do that at this stage. I'm trying to set the stage to do that. So if you'd like to see me go that direction, that's how you can help make it happen for as little as $2 a month. That's it. If you enjoy me and the things that I do and you appreciate it. Because I still appreciate you no matter what you choose or how you choose to support me. So thanks again for remembering to like, comment, share. Thanks for subscribing. We passed 10,000 subscribers in this new YouTube channel on Friday as well. And of course, if you like this video, well, why don't you watch another one that I did right now? We'll see you later.